It's depressing, isn't it? It's depressing. You look at that table. I mean, that's a team that we played last season twice. Did quite well against. Could have probably nicked either game. Yesterday, never looked like winning that game. Never looked like getting a point after we went a goal behind. 51 quid. It's thoroughly depressing. And there's worrying signs. Not just worrying signs on pitch, although they continue to be there, but worrying signs off it. I mean, there was an interview after the game. Rob Staton has interviewed Xisco, and you can see it's getting to him already. Now, it will be getting to him because he's not going to win. He's not got to win. And there's a small part of me that feels for him because he's walked into a bit of a shit show. All that drama in summer with Dad and Maud after the remarkable end to last season, that's dragged on. He's coming at last minute. Club signed a couple of players that he clearly didn't want. I mean, signing players before you've got a manager. There's nothing wrong with that if you've got a transfer system that's in place and whoever the manager is that comes in, no, this is what happens, we do it this way. Well, we do that, and then as soon as he comes in, we scrap that, and oh yeah, who do you want? We've just signed two players that you don't want. So I've got a little bit of sympathy. It's all chucked together at last minute. All these players come in door, half of them's not had a pre-season, and we knew it were going to be tough. It was going to be tough anyway. We've just come up, it's a tough division. But I don't turmoil with manager, with Dad and Maud and this sort of thing, which I don't want to get into again. I think most fans are, well, as football supporters, we're used to it, aren't we? Managers come and go. I'm trying to think how many managers have been there while I've been watching. Some that you're gutted to see go, some that you're quite glad to see them out at door. It happens and you get over it. Most of us get over it. So there's all that turmoil, everything's shook together. To that end, I feel a bit sorry for Xisco. But you've got to give yourself the best opportunity to get results. And there's things that he can do, whether this squad is good enough for this division or not, and there's arguments, whatever with that. You've got to give yourself the best opportunity, and I don't think he's doing that. I talked all last season, the season before when Dad and Moore was here, about consistency. If you get consistent performances out of your players, you've got a chance. And I'm not just talking about consistent results, oh that's marvellous, but if you're doing consistent performances and everybody knows what they're doing, you'll take more points than you don't. Do you know what I mean? But to get consistent performances, you've got to get consistency out of the players as individuals and then within the team. And how can you help do that? Well, to get consistent performances from players, you've got to give them a consistent run in the same position. The players on the park. Consistent selection, consistent formation, consistent tactics. I'm not seeing any of them things. It's every week looks like a roll of dice. There were bits against Leeds where I thought, oh, it's not attractive to watch. But away from home, if that's a style that can get you a point, good, step in the right direction. But that yesterday, two forward players in wide positions. No natural balance to the team. There's like a lack of energy on park, and then when we try and up the tempo, we end up going long. Now going long don't necessarily make things quicker, does it? That's like a myth in your head. Do it quickly, bang. But no, quick. Movement. It's all about movement. What have they been working on in this last fortnight? I was quite... After Leeds game, I thought to myself, it's good. I don't like international break as a rule, but I thought, good, it's coming right time for it. He's now got a fortnight to get stuck into it, lads. Work through stuff. We'll come out the other side with that fortnight's practice, and I think we might see a different lucky Wednesday. I haven't seen it. The opening 10 minutes, I thought it were pretty even, actually. Quite frantic, both teams, but then 10-15 minutes, it settled down into a rhythm, and it was a rhythm of them. And probably our best, well, they weren't even opportunities, were they? But the moments where you thought we might be in, or we might have a chance, is when they were fanning about with it at back and overplaying a bit. Any opportunity I thought we might have were more likely to come from them making a cock up than us creating it. No shots on target, 51 quid. No shots on target. And although they're doing well and they've had that momentum from last season, they're not best team in this division by a long chalk, and we ain't laid a glove on them. We've got all this going on with Marvin Johnson, and I'm not saying he's best player in the world. I've said many times on here, he's one of the most frustrating players that's ever played for Wednesday for me. But I think a lot of that's down to his style and his running gait, and he's got a sort of laid back look. But if you're not creating opportunities, and we're not creating opportunities, no shots on target, I'll say it again. And you've got somebody in, well, he's not in squad, is he? If you've got somebody at your training ground who can deliver a telling ball into the box, if you're a team, a club that desperately can't afford to be relegated and losing that extra 7-8 million quid a year, and you're desperate to get results any way that you can, and you've got someone who can deliver a telling ball into the box, not even involved, you're just shooting this in it foot. And I don't care who you are, I don't care what manager you're at, whether you're in Sunday League or whether you're at an international level. It's self-sabotage. If it's a personal thing, you've got to get past that and be professional. I've no doubt that I've had gaffers at work who didn't like me. I know I've had gaffers at work who didn't like me. They'd still give me certain jobs to do though, because they knew I could do it, whether they liked me or not. Cutting nose off to spite face, that's all that is. I mean, I did make some notes, but I mean, there's no point, because I don't really want to talk about a game. What have I got? Daft booking for Mayo, kicking ball away. Morsey booked for elbowing Delgado in face. Ladapo misses a sitter. Lovely ball that from Broadhead. Split our defence wide open. Burns put ball in. Ladapo, he's got to bury that. For Mayo lands badly. I mean, these are my highlights of the game. Player lands badly. Vasquez makes a good save from Burns. Actually, that is the one thing. That is the one thing from yesterday. Vasquez had a very good game. I'm saying it's a good thing. Is it a good thing when your goalkeeper's overworked? No, of course it isn't. But Vasquez had an excellent game, and if it weren't for him, genuinely, could have been 3 or 4. Their goal, wonderful pass from Luongo. I mean, that's salting wound, isn't it? I loved Luongo. I've got to stick up for Wednesday. I can well understand why we let him go. I mean, half the time, we were here 3 years. It must have spent a year and a half of that out injured, in different spells. I know that weren't helped when Pulis made him play through pain barrier when he needed an operation, but no energy, no spark. I'm not saying players aren't trying, because they are trying. You can see endeavour. Because Gregory, Smith, they're working hard. Smith's up there on his own. Gregory's hard. Well, I don't know what they're doing with him, aren't they? I've got to be honest with you. And just looking at that table, it's thoroughly depressing. And then you're looking at fixtures. I mean, we've got Middlesbrough coming up now in week. They've had a shite start after a good season last season. And you're looking at that and you're thinking, well, it could be a bit like other year when it were Wednesday Swansea with Monk and Carlos. You know, it's like whoever loses that could be gone. And do I think Xisco could be gone? Well, Chansiri backs his managers, doesn't he? He backs them to nth degree, really. That's the one positive you can say about him. He backs his managers. Can he back him after this? I'm not sure. I think if he does go, it will be for one reason now, and that is to keep the fire away from his own door. And owners and chairmen, they'll do that. They will do that. Forget about football. I'm taking a bit of flack. Let's deflect it onto somebody else. And I'm afraid Xisco, with some of his decision making, is making himself a very convenient shield. Poor, really poor. If we can't win against Middlesbrough, I can't see where one's coming from. I really can't. And I'm quite positive. I try not to get too down about things or looking for negatives, but I can't see a positive. Players all have it show. Iofa's limped off. No sign of Bannon today. We've signed these young lads, these wingers. We've got Masaba. There's Gassama. Not in. No whereabouts. Valentin. Well, I thought he looked quite lively in some appearance against Leeds. He's had another fortnight. He's not in there. I just think everything's coming to an end. Do you know what I mean? I think it's all coming, and it's going to be a perfect storm. These fans arguing with fans. They'll talk about it at Cardiff, again with Leeds. And it's a division that doesn't need to be there. If you look at last season, there was a connectivity in club. Players, management, fan base. That we were all like, yeah, we're Sheffield Wednesday, yeah, we're all out. We are a club. Now it's like nobody's took to new manager. I mean, last season Darren Moore got his critics all the way through, and there was an argument that some of football weren't great, but it was football that give you a solid foundation in a game. It weren't always sparkling, but you knew he's always got a chance of picking some up. And I'm not saying would have got any better results if he'd stayed, but I think that consistency of selection, that consistency of system that would have had by having the same manager, whether you rate him or not, would have given the lads a better platform to try and win games. And that's the difference, because at the minute I'm looking at it, I'm not seeing a team that's going out and trying to win a game of football. And we've got to win games of football. We could end up bottom of the table in week. And I won't be surprised. Yeah, things are coming to an end. It's been a really miserable day for it. Yeah, just depressing all around, really. The only thing that has cheered me up probably yesterday and today is that I've got a new cup. Yes, sent to me by my mate Dan. Cheers, Dan. The old 1991 stripes on there with the blizzard effect in there. One of my favourite ever shirts, so that's nice, you know. Has got my face on it though. A little bit weird that, though, isn't it? Drinking yourself, you know what I mean? Bit egotistical it feels, you know, narcissistic. I mean, God, I'll be having my surname printed across back of my settee, won't I, soon? You know what I mean? Or a banner in the living room across back wall with my mug on it. Egotist. We're soon after a bit, folks will put up with that, won't they? Folks will put up with it when things are going well. When things aren't going well, your personality faults start coming to the fore and people will be looking at them, and rightly so. I mean, one lad's took it on himself today to make his feelings known. But do you know what? That's how he feels. He feels that strongly. Good on him, I say. Because sometimes you've got to get message across. Now, people always say if you want to get message across to an owner that he feels letting you down and your club down, stay away. But not everybody can stay away, because got what, 19,000, 20,000 season ticket holders. You're going to pay for something and then not use it, are you? Money's tight, times are tough. So it's not going to hit him that way. So how else can you let him know? So, I'm going to spray his bloody face out. And then that will stand there as a permanent reminder and monument that I'm not happy. And a lot of people aren't happy. So fair play to that kid. Of course, it didn't stay as a permanent monument, because 5 minutes after he'd, blacked his face out, it had gone. Yeah, so no bad press, because that would have made it into papers, that wouldn't it? Might have even meant nationals, because they love a bad news story. Love a turmoil story. But yeah, that's gone. I just think things are getting to a stage now where it's going to be a perfect storm. If he loses in midweek, I think he'll be packing his bag, do you know what I mean? Taking his fruit pastels out at top drawer in office and packing his stuff. I think he could be on his way. And he'd looked under pressure in that starting interview. As for chairman, that sounds like he's chairing the board meetings, doesn't it? And what do you think? And what expertise do you bring into the table? Well, you're an expert on that. What do you think about this move? What about you? You're the football man. The chairman. Can't be a chairman when there's no board, can you? The owner. The owner and his mate. What do you think? You've got a few. Bring them in. We don't own his own ground. We're second bottom at table. We ain't got a win. We've got a crunch game in week. We've got a manager with baffling tactics, who clearly is picking players just based on whether he fancies them or not whether they actually bring out to the table in football terms. We haven't got any cohesion going forward. We've brought some pace in, but they're not involved. It's terrible. It's terrible. The one good thing about this football club at the minute is the support, because numbers, turning up in numbers and seeing this, it's fantastic support. It's lunacy, but it is fantastic support. I don't know. I don't know where we go from here. I can sit here with my notepad and my pen. He could do this, he could do that. Maybe we can get him up there, but it doesn't matter, does it? We all sit round chatting. Think he could play here? Yeah, I think he probably could. Don't matter, because he don't agree, does he? I think we might score a goal if we have an attack. Well, that might be an idea. Yeah, we'll give that a try. No. It's thoroughly depressing. The boos have started. The chants have started. Unfortunately, like I said, fan against fan on some occasions, aren't there? And really it all goes back to one thing, and that's the way the club's run, because fans aren't arguing with fans when things are going well. Everybody's getting a bit, tempers are flaring, aren't they, you know? I mean, I've seen our local journalists are getting some hammer. Starting to get in hammer for asking tough questions. Well, good. Because tough questions need asking when you've not won a game of football all season. So we've got a tough job, our local journalists. Let's be right about that, and let's remind ourselves of one thing about what happened at Radio Sheffield the other year, when they actually upset somebody at the club. They've got a tough job. The paper lads even more so, because they're club specific. They can't be going over the top. What do? I report on Sheffield Wednesday. Got anything to report this week? No, I've been banned from ground because I have to go. So it's very tough. It's the bread and butter. So let's not, I've seen a lot of that, let's not be getting local journalists too much hammer, because they've got an hard job to do to try and get us news out without putting themselves in a position where the upset counter issue, know what I mean? It's a wave of negativity. I'm sorry about this. I'm going on, but I'm trying to find bright spark. Maybe one of you knows. Maybe you can tell me what bright spark is from this season, because I just can't see one. I can't see one. A message from one of the lads earlier. At least they've lost to Spurs. Spurs. Top clubs in country. And they've scored a goal against them. We haven't had a shot on goal in a home game against a team that were at the same level as us last season. And when you look at their first 11, haven't made many changes at all. "10 minutes against Preston. A solid defensive performance against Leeds. Disaster at Hull. This today, no shots. Southampton getting a record number of passes in an individual game in Football League. What? I try and be positive, but I'm going to nail colours to mast. I want manager gone, and I want owner gone. Because while everybody's picking managers, out can happen, can't it? I mean, look at track record. The only one with any sort of decent record was Bruce. And they were almost forced into a corner with that because we were available, and they would have an absolute massive campaign to get him. Sack Xisco, but don't worry, because my mate says he knows a right good manager in Polish third division. but you know what I mean. Where do we go? It even annoyed me today, even though it's a running joke. And 9 times out of 10 I see it and there's a wry smile, because it reminds me of days past when things were a bit better. But even seeing Presto on top of a waste-stand roof annoyed me. Concrete rotting north. Now we've got a big telly, so that's the main thing, innit? Nah, that's me done. I can't even talk about it anymore. It's all thoroughly, it's too much. So, no. That'll do. And I'll see you midweek for Middlesbrough. And before I do go on, I'd just like to send a quick get well message to my mate Jake. I know I've had a very tough 24-hour with hospital, and they're going to have an interesting new scar. War wounds, plenty of stories to tell then. Old Joker. Ice pops, that's what that were. That was a real story behind that. Anyway, all the best to you, Jake. Get well soon, son. And I'll see you all for Middlesbrough game, when I'm sure we're all going to be sat about happy as laddie after a thrilling Wednesday performance. Plenty of goals and climbing table. Fine. I don't want to keep that. That's when I still had proper eyebrows.